550 KTRS. Denny Hastert's story broke late Thursday. We touched on it Friday. And everyone has so many questions. There are more questions than there are answers. Ryan Burrow is following it with us for ABC News. Ryan, thanks for checking in.
Yeah, good morning to you. Yeah, over the weekend, learned a couple more things about this individual A who's named in this indictment, the person who was apparently receiving money from Denny Hastert, hush money, to keep quiet about some kind of misconduct. What we've learned is this person was a male student at the school where Hastert worked before he got into politics. This person, the misconduct rather, was sexual in nature, is what the sources are saying.
What about a individual B? Is there somebody else or more coming out?
Yeah, this person is not revealed in the indictment, but sources say there's a second person, another male, who may have also been part of this sexual misconduct, but that person did not receive any money from the former House Speaker, and as a result, isn't really part of the federal indictment.
I know I certainly don't want to sit here and defend somebody who did something terrible to a student 30 years ago, but Dennis Hastert wasn't arrested for that. He was arrested for an out-of-court settlement that he arranged with an individual. So I'm confused as to what Denny Hastert did that was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, we're still the arraignment right now is on the charges of bank fraud and lying to the feds. Everything else is kind of a secondary story that we've been able to pull from this indictment as to where this money was going and who it was going to, and now we're starting to learn a little bit of why. But individual A, this male student who was receiving the money, not likely to face any extortion charges because the receiving of that money may not have been criminal. And Hastert, of course, would have to release more information about the situation. And at this point, it doesn't sound like he's going to talk at all.
That's what doesn't make any sense to me. So receiving the money wasn't criminal, but giving the money was criminal?
Correct. And it all stems back to the Patriot Act, something that the House Speaker, the former House Speaker, championed as to how you can withdraw money from your bank account. It has to be in increments under $10,000, or else if it's anything above that, you have to report it. It has to be reported by the bank. And he managed to structure it in a way where it couldn't be, and that's kind of how the feds took notice.
So if Denny Hastert would have written this victim or individual A check for $3.5 million, he wouldn't have broken the law.
Well, it kind of depends on how that money would have been pulled from his bank account. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure you can get some banking experts that could say how he could have gotten away with it. Now, interesting enough, he was paying this person out, according to the indictment, $50,000 at a time up until 2012, and that's when some bank representatives came up to him and said, "You can't do this. We've got to be able to report this that you're doing this," and that's when he structured it, according to the feds, in a way that would kind of evade these bank reports.
Yeah. So, do you think the bank tipped the feds off on this?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I don't know at what point they got involved, but we do know that he changed the structures of these withdrawals after he met with these bank representatives in 2012.
So he didn't launder the money correctly. If he would have set up a corporation, gave the money to the corporation, and then have this corporation then give the money, then that would have been okay. Here's the next. Go ahead.
My understanding of how why this was put into the Patriot Act is a way to prevent criminals from doing this kind of thing, taking out small increments and funneling that cash somewhere where it is illegal.
To a terrorist, to a drug cartel, and so on and so forth. But not necessarily for a legal structured agreement between two parties. Which I think is the thing Denny Hastert's people are going to argue. Now, does the victim, individual A, he's out this money. So he agreed to these terms of $3.5 million. Hastert was arrested with 1 point something million paid. So who is he going to get the rest of his money?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yet to be determined, I suppose. I mean, like I said, his people have we don't know who individual A is exactly at this point, and of course, we don't even know who Denny Hastert's attorney is at this point as we head into the arraignment.
That's the other interesting thing. No one from Denny Hastert's side has said anything and or leaked anything in any way, shape, or form, correct?
Correct. Yeah. No, we haven't heard anything from that camp. In fact, all of the politicians who were close to him, these former teachers, these former people in Yorkville, they said they had no understanding of any of this. As far as these allegations of misconduct, no one seems to have known anything. So this is taking everyone by surprise.
And it came out of nowhere, right? There was nobody was tipped off by any of this.
I mean, it all comes back, I suppose, to these these bank withdrawals that the feds kind of got into that we obviously and the media didn't have any idea about.
Right. Ryan Burrow with us, ABC News correspondent in Chicago. Ryan, thanks for checking in.
Thank you. Take care.
You got it. 7:56 here, Big 550 KTRS. I want it on the record, so if you're going to yell at me, make sure you're yelling at me for the right reason. I'm not supporting the allegation or saying he shouldn't be arrested for something terrible. But the Catholic Church has paid victims, right? Settlements, out-of-court settlements. There's been the Duggar family. You can't go after the Duggar kid because the statute of limitations has run out. Mm-hmm. The father didn't bring those allegations until the kid already went and got therapy and everything else. But Denny Hastert gets arrested because he didn't launder the money correctly, is basically what Denny Hastert got arrested for. And if he would have laundered it better, and then he wouldn't have been up on these charges.
It appears to be the case.
Yeah, it's wow. That is, Rome is burning. We have a Speaker of the House who has made millions of dollars after he left the Speaker of the House and used his influence for all sorts of reasons. That's not that big of a deal. But the fact that he didn't launder the money correctly, that's the problem. I mean, we are talking about giving someone a speeding ticket while Rome burns.
But again, he came up with this
right.
So he of all people should know better.
To incorporate George Will's point, which is he owned land, gave an earmark to the land adjacent to land he owned, which then automatically made his land more valuable. 15,000 earmarks were set aside in his world. After he became Speaker of the House, or after he left, he's made millions as a lobbyist, lobbying the same government he helped run for a while. So how egregious is all of that? And what has he brought up on? The fact that he didn't launder money correctly to an out-of-court settlement. It just seems to me like we're giving him a speeding ticket or a red light camera ticket while Rome is burning. 758 St. Louis Closet Company.